I'm Amy Dixon, Bowflex Fitness Advisor, and this is Planks for Beginners. So I'm going to show you a few different types of planks. Stephanie will be demonstrating. Come on down into a forearm plank. So this is the most regressed version of the plank that you can do. On your forearms, form is crucial here. So shoulders are directly over your elbows, hands are in a nice extension, and you're finding length from your tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. This exercise really fires up the core. And when I talk about the core, it's not just your abdominals. It includes your abdominals, your back, your hips, and your shoulders and your chest. Great job, Stephanie. Now, to amp this up, once you have this mastered, simply tuck the toes under and lift the knees off of the mat. So this exercise, once you can do this for about a minute, feel free to progress to the next one. But think about the form here. It's exactly the same. You're still creating length in the spine, energy throughout now the back of the feet, and still length through the spine from the top of the head through the tailbone. Form is flawless. Great job. And now we're going to progress it. So you can go ahead, take a second, stretch a little. The next plank is a straight arm plank. So starting on the knees, same thing. You always have your knees to come back to. From here, form, it's all about stacking the joint. So shoulders directly over the wrists, arms are long and straight, spine is long again, crown of the head, tailbone, same exact rules. Fantastic job. Once you've mastered this, tuck the toes under, lift the hips off, and now you have a full plank. And this is where we execute push-ups, where we can just hold the plank and do a lot of different variations. But for now, we're keeping it simple. Form is exactly the same. Energy in the core. Once you can hold this, stick it. Hold it for about a minute. Now, I'm going to show you one last plank variation, which is a side plank. It's done quite a bit, keeping it on that elbow and on the forearm there. So, shoulder here, stacked directly over the elbow, hips on the floor and stacked at first, knees are stacked. So everything's in alignment, including the shoulders. Now go ahead, Stephanie, lift the hips off. This exercise is really challenging. It changes because you're on your side now. You're going to be activating a bit more of the side body than usual, but you're still working that core. Hold it right there, focus on your breath. Alignment through the spine is exactly the same. Tailbone to the crown of the head. And now, once you've mastered this, let's take it one step further. So legs now are going to become straight. You're going to extend the legs. You can cross the top leg over. Hips stay lifted. Joints stay stacked. So hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder. You can extend the arm, reaching through the fingertips. And notice how Stephanie's keeping that beautiful long line from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Now that's the side plank. Of course you would do it on the other side. Great work. And there you have it.
Push-ups are one of the most fundamental bodyweight exercises and are very popular. The movement is simple, can be done everywhere, and it's very effective because you are using a lot of muscles at the same time. Sounds good, right? The problem is that a lot of people concentrate on quantity instead of quality when doing push-ups. To avoid this, you should focus on these 4 points to make your push-ups perfect. Let's start straight with the number 1, the body position. A push-up is not only a triceps, chest and shoulder movement. Most people neglect their tension in the abdominal muscles, the hips and the legs. Often they form an arched back and have a leg and body tension. To avoid this, tilt your pelvis backward and keep your butt squeezed tight. The movement gets a lot harder with this, but it's also more effective. The second point is the arm position. The arm position doesn't really matter in terms of the perfect execution. A perfect push-up can be done with a wide or a narrow grip, but it's important to place your wrists in a nearly vertical line under your shoulder when you do the standard push-up. There are still exceptions for that rule, for example when you are doing pseudo planche push-ups, which puts the focus more on your shoulder. Or when you're doing Sphinx push-ups, which are a triceps dominant movement. If you are working with standard push-ups and choose a wider grip, it involves the chest more than a close grip, and a close grip sets the focus more on your triceps. The only thing you should avoid completely are out-flared elbows, because this puts a lot of stress on your shoulder, which can lead to injuries. The closer you place your arms to the body, the more your elbows point backwards. The wider you place your arms, the more your elbows going away from your body, but they still point more backwards than to the side. The third point is the range of motion. This is quite simple, just don't cheat. Go all the way up and all the way down and let your body straight. Don't decrease the range of motion by bringing your head forward or your hips down. The last point is the shoulder blade movement. This is a very neglected point. When you're going down, your shoulder blades come together, and when you're going up, they go apart. You should also focus on pushing them downward instead of upward. But don't forget, there's still difference between a passive and an active way of this shoulder blade movement. If you are too weak in the shoulder girdle, your shoulder blades come together because you are not able to hold your body against the gravity. You can see this especially at the top of the movement. When you are going down, always focus on the tension and an active shoulder blade movement. Don't let yourself fall down into your structures. If you consider all those points and try it on your own, you will notice that it's much harder to do. Maybe your amount of maximum repetitions will drop, but that doesn't matter. Always focus on quality over quantity, and you will be rewarded with progress and a